This video found you for a reason. There's a book that wasn't written with words, but encoded in the very energy of the universe by Thoth, the scribe of the gods, and it contains the language to manipulate reality. If you're seeing this, it's a sign that you're ready to learn that language. The promise is simple. Your life will change so fast that people around you will start calling you a wizard. But first, I need to give you the first key. The reason why everything you've tried up to this point hasn't worked. You've spent your whole life asking, praying, and visualizing. But the universe never responded to what you asked for. It always responded to what you vibrated. And your vibration has most likely been your biggest saboteur. In the next few minutes, I won't give you theories. I'm going to give you the code. I'll show you exactly how your own energy has been creating the opposite of what you want, and how to reverse that now. What you're going to learn here is not the law of attraction. It's the physics of reality, a knowledge that's been hidden for millennia. If you stay until the end, you'll never ask the universe for anything again. You'll command it. And the proof that you're ready to receive this knowledge starts now. If you felt the call, comment, "My reality changes now," to seal your intention. The truth is that you were taught to interact with the universe in a completely mistaken way. They taught you that you should ask, beg, negotiate with an external force, like life is some giant service counter, where you need to submit your requests and wait for approval. You've spent years crafting the right wishes, using the most precise words, praying with devotion, hoping that if you asked in the right way, the universe would finally give in. But that beggar-giver dynamic is an illusion that keeps you stuck in a state of powerlessness, always depending on something outside of yourself. The universe is not an entity that judges your requests. It's an infinite field of energy that operates based on impersonal and precise laws, like the law of gravity. The main law that governs the creation of reality is the law of vibration. It states that everything in the cosmos, from the tiniest subatomic particle to the largest galaxies, is in a constant state of motion, of vibration. Nothing is still, and everything vibrates at a specific frequency. Think of yourself not as a physical body with a mind, but as a vibrational energy field. A symphony of frequencies emitting a unique and constant signal to the quantum field. That signal is your vibrational signature. It's the total sum of your beliefs, emotions, thoughts, and states of being. It's your deepest truth, broadcast 24/7 without filters. That signature works exactly like a radio station. Your conscious mind may want to hear a classical symphony playing at 107.7 FM, but if your device, your being, is tuned to 92.5 FM, blasting heavy rock, it doesn't matter how much you want or ask for the symphony. You're only going to hear the rock. Your desire is the intention, but your vibration is the actual tuning. The universe doesn't respond to your intention to change the station. It responds to the frequency being transmitted right now. That's why people who live in a state of fear keep attracting situations to be afraid of, and people who live in a state of gratitude seem to keep finding more and more reasons to be grateful. The great sage Thoth, known in Egyptian traditions as the scribe of the gods and the guardian of hidden knowledge, encoded this truth millennia ago. In his teachings, he stated that vibration is the fundamental cause of all manifestation. He wasn't speaking poetically. He meant it as precise physics. The universe doesn't understand human language, with its ambiguities and contradictions. It doesn't understand your words of lack when you ask for money, or your words of loneliness when you ask for love. It only understands the universal language of frequency. Your energetic emission is a clear and direct command, which the quantum field mirrors with absolute perfection. The central problem, the root of all human frustration, lies in the conflict between what your conscious mind wants and what your entire being is actually vibrating. Your mind might repeat affirmations of abundance all day long, but if, at a deeper level, your emotions and beliefs are rooted in scarcity and fear of not having enough, the dominant frequency you emit is lack. You're, in practice, sending two contradictory messages to the universe. And since emotional and subconscious vibration is immensely more powerful than mental thought, that's what the universe will mirror. You ask for wealth, but vibrate poverty. And the universe, obediently, delivers more poverty. This dissonance is the silent sabotage that holds back your progress. You're creating exactly the opposite of what you want, not because you're being punished or because you're unlucky, but because the law is working perfectly. You're getting an exact reflection of your dominant broadcast. It's a flawless system. The question, then, is not about learning how to ask better. The question is about learning how to vibrate differently. And to do that, we first need to locate the true source of that broadcast. Where does that vibrational signature come from? The one that seems to have a life of its own and has been dictating the course of your life without your conscious permission. The answer isn't in your head or in your thoughts. The source of that broadcast is much more visceral, more honest, and infinitely more powerful. It's in the one place that can't lie, the place that holds the record of all your unprocessed experiences, fears, and joys. It's your body. It has been the antenna transmitting your true frequency the whole time, even when you weren't paying attention. And it's to your body that we must now turn our attention, to understand what it has been communicating to the universe on your behalf. Your mind is a master of illusion. It can build complex narratives to convince you that everything is fine, even when everything is falling apart. It can repeat to itself, "I am confident," while a paralyzing fear keeps you from speaking in public. It can tell you that you've already forgiven someone, while a bitter resentment keeps eating away at you. The mind is a skilled politician, always negotiating with reality, always trying to present the best version of itself. But your body doesn't play that game. It's a scientist, an impartial observer that simply records and transmits the raw truth of your internal state. Think of your body as a highly sensitive biological antenna, transmitting information to the quantum field every second. Every physical sensation is a data packet being sent. That lump in your throat that shows up when you need to speak your truth isn't just an uncomfortable feeling. It's the frequency of repression being emitted. That constant weight on your shoulders is the frequency of overload and excessive responsibility being transmitted. That tightness in your chest when you think about the future is the frequency of anxiety and fear being radiated out into the universe. Your body is the honest whistleblower of your soul. The Hermetic traditions, which preserved the teachings of Thoth, always saw the body not as a mere machine of flesh and bone, but as a sacred vessel. In alchemy, it's the Athanor, the furnace where the deepest transformations take place. It's in the body that dense emotions like fear, anger, and sadness are stored. If they aren't processed and transmuted, they don't disappear. They crystallize in the body tissue, becoming chronic tension, unexplained pain, and illness. And from there, they keep vibrating, keep transmitting their frequency of pain into the field, attracting more situations that resonate with that same pain. You can spend hours visualizing a life of peace and calm, but if your body is perpetually in a fight or flight state, with tense muscles and a nervous system on high alert, the frequency you're emitting is one of danger and stress. The universe doesn't respond to the pretty picture in your mind. It responds to the biochemical and energetic reality of your body. It reads the tension in your shoulders, the acidity in your stomach, the rapid rhythm of your heartbeat. That is your true prayer, your real affirmation. And the universe, as a perfect mirror, will keep bringing you stressful situations that justify that bodily state. The big shift happens when you stop treating your body as an enemy or a broken vehicle that needs fixing. You begin to see it as an intelligent feedback system, an oracle that shows you exactly where your energy is stuck. That back pain is no longer a problem to be silenced with painkillers, but a message that you're carrying burdens that aren't yours. The chronic migraine isn't bad luck anymore, but a sign that your mind is in a conflict you're refusing to face. Listening to your body is the first step in clearing the broadcast. When you start breathing consciously into the area of tension, moving in ways that release stagnant energy, allowing trapped emotions to surface, be felt, and let go, you're basically cleaning your antenna. You're recalibrating your frequency. The transmission starts to get clearer, more aligned with what your consciousness truly wants. The body stops being a prison of pain and becomes a tool of power, a tuned transmitter for the frequency of health, joy, and freedom. However, even when you start doing this cleanup and aligning your body's frequency, you may notice something strange. The change doesn't seem to last. You feel good for a day, maybe two, but then suddenly, without realizing how, the old patterns of tension and anxiety return. This happens because there's an invisible program running in your subconscious, a silent guardian whose only mission is to make sure you never stray too far from your normal state, even if that normal is suffering. And it's this hidden architect of your reality that we're going to meet now. Imagine that, in the early days of your life, your subconscious mind created a safety program. Its main function was to ensure your survival at all costs. It quickly learned what was safe and what was dangerous based on your experiences, especially in childhood. If being seen or heard resulted in criticism or punishment, the program learned that being invisible is safe. If trusting someone led to betrayal, it learned that being suspicious is safe. If trying something new and failing brought humiliation, it learned that staying in the comfort zone is safe. This program is what Thoth called the Watcher at the Gates. And today, we can call it the Pattern Guardian. This guardian is not some evil entity. It doesn't intend to harm you. On the contrary, it loves you unconditionally, and its only directive is to protect you. The problem is that its definition of safety is frozen in time. To it, safe is the same as familiar. Anything known, even if it's a cycle of scarcity, an abusive relationship, or a deep sense of unworthiness, is considered safe simply because you've survived it until now. Any attempt to break out of that familiar pattern is interpreted by the guardian as a mortal threat to your survival. This is where self-sabotage begins. The moment you decide to change your life, raise your vibration, and go after something new and better, you trigger an alarm in the guardian's security system. It immediately jumps into action to pull you back to familiar territory. And it's incredibly subtle and smart in its tactics. It doesn't show up like a monster yelling, "Don't change." Instead, it operates through thoughts that feel like your own. Who do you think you are to succeed? This is too good to be true. You're going to fail again, just like always. That voice of doubt isn't you. It's the guardian's voice. If thoughts aren't enough to stop you, the guardian will use the outside world. Suddenly, just when you're feeling motivated to start a new project, an unexpected financial issue shows up. Or the day you decide to eat healthy, a friend shows up with your favorite dessert. Or when you finally meet someone who treats you well, you start to feel an unexplainable mistrust and look for flaws in the person until you push them away. These aren't coincidences or tests from the universe. They're moves by your own guardian, using reality to force you back to the safety of your old prison. You're not in a battle against the world, fate, or bad luck. Your real struggle is internal, against that archaic programming that's been running your life without your awareness. The guardian is the true architect of your repetitive reality. It's the reason you always seem to attract the same type of partner, why you never seem to get past a certain financial level, why you always give up on your dreams just before reaching them. It's signing your reality on your behalf, based on a safety contract you unconsciously agreed to a long time ago. Trying to fight the guardian head-on is pointless. It's part of you, and fighting it is fighting yourself, which only creates more internal conflict and strengthens the pattern. You can't defeat it with force. The only way to start deactivating its power is through awareness. The guardian operates in the shadows of the subconscious. Its biggest weakness is the light of observation. It can't maintain control when it's seen, when its tactics are exposed. It depends on your ignorance, on your belief that those sabotaging thoughts are truly yours. And there's a perfect tool to bring this guardian into the light, a mirror it can't avoid. This mirror reflects with absolute precision all your hidden programs, all your fears, and all your limiting beliefs. It shows, without filters, exactly how the guardian has been operating and what frequency it's been broadcasting in your name. That secret mirror is your external reality. And by learning how to use it, we'll finally expose the guardian and begin to take back control of our life. Most people live believing the external world is a separate, solid, independent entity. They see themselves as a subject navigating a world full of objects, people, and circumstances that happen to them or against them. This perception of separation is the core illusion that keeps us stuck in the role of the victim. The ancient Hermetic principle, as within, so without, isn't just a beautiful philosophical phrase. It's a literal description of the mechanics of reality. The world you experience isn't objective. It's a perfect holographic reflection of your internal state. Your reality is a mirror. Everything and everyone that shows up in your life is there for a reason, to show you a part of yourself. That person whose behavior deeply irritates you is actually mirroring a trait that exists inside you, but that you repress, deny, or judge. It's your own shadow projected onto another person. The financial scarcity that haunts you isn't a problem of the world or the economy. It's the mirror of a subconscious belief of unworthiness or a deep fear of the responsibility that wealth would bring. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It shows you who you are. Once you truly understand this, the game of life completely changes. You stop being a passive reactor to external events and become a conscious investigator of your own inner landscape. The question is no longer, why is this happening to me? And becomes, what in me is creating this? The world transforms from a battlefield into a classroom, and every person or challenging situation becomes a disguised teacher, a messenger sent by your deeper self to help you see what you couldn't see on your own. These messengers are actually the most effective tool to expose the programming of your pattern guardian. The situations that trigger you the most emotionally, that push your buttons the hardest, are like neon arrows pointing directly at the limiting beliefs the guardian is protecting. If you constantly feel disrespected by people, the mirror is showing you an internal lack of self-respect. If you attract partners who abandon you, the mirror is revealing a deep fear of abandonment that already lives inside you, likely since childhood. The outer pattern only exists to validate the inner pattern. From this new perspective, you stop trying to change the mirror. You understand that trying to change the person who irritates you or fix your external financial situation is as useless as trying to change your reflection by brushing the image in the mirror. The only place where real change can happen is within you, in the projector that's creating the image. Instead of blaming the messenger, you thank them for the message and turn your attention inward to heal the wound, transmute the belief, or integrate the shadow they came to show you. The most shocking part is that this mirror is so accurate that it reveals an uncomfortable truth. Many of your spiritual and personal development practices may actually be reinforcing the problem. If you meditate to get rid of anxiety, you're vibrating resistance to anxiety, and the mirror will bring you more situations to make you anxious. If you do wealth affirmations from a place of desperation and lack, you're reinforcing the vibration of lack, and the mirror will show you more scarcity. Your practices may have become just another way to fight the reflection instead of changing the projector. This realization leads us to question one of the most popular and widespread manifestation tools in the world. A technique that, when used under the programming of the pattern guardian, becomes not a bridge to your desired future, but a powerful anchor keeping you stuck exactly where you are. We're talking about visualization. And it's crucial to understand how this double-edged tool could be sabotaging your dreams, and what to do to turn it into a real portal for conscious creation. You were taught that to create the life of your dreams, you need to visualize it with as much detail and emotion as possible. Close your eyes. Picture the perfect house, the new car, the ideal relationship, and feel the joy as if it were already real. The logic seems to make sense. Show the universe exactly what you want. However, for most people, this practice becomes a subtle and powerful trap. The secret that rarely gets told is about the frequency from which you visualize. It's not the image that creates, it's the vibration behind the image. When you sit down to visualize from a state of lack, of need, or frustration with your current reality, you're not emitting the frequency of your desire fulfilled. You're actually amplifying the frequency of its absence. Every image of the new car is accompanied by a subconscious feeling of, I don't have this now. Every feeling of joy from the ideal relationship is tinted by the pain of present loneliness. It's like screaming to the universe with all the force of your emotion. Look how incomplete my life is. See what I'm missing. And the universe, which is a perfect mirror, responds by bringing you more experiences of incompleteness and lack. The law of vibration is relentless in its neutrality. It doesn't care about your good intentions or the beauty of your mental images. It only responds to your dominant energetic emission. Visualizing from lack is an act of separation. You place your desire on a pedestal, in a distant future, and reinforce the energetic gap between where you are and where you want to be. Instead of bringing your desire closer, you push it further away, keeping it forever on the horizon like a mirage you can never reach. That's why so many people visualize for years without results, growing increasingly frustrated and disillusioned. Thoth and the Hermetic masters knew this. They taught that imagination only becomes a creative force when it vibrates in certainty. The key is not to visualize, but to embody. The difference is subtle, but transformative. Visualizing is a mental act of seeing something that isn't there. Embodying is a physical and energetic act of being the person who already lives that reality. It's not about imagining the future. It's about accessing a state of being that already exists as a possibility in the quantum field. It's a vibrational remembrance, not a creation from scratch. Think of infinite versions of you existing in parallel realities. There's a version of you that's already a millionaire, one that's already perfectly healthy, one that already lives a deep love. Embodying is tuning your frequency to that version of you. It's feeling in every cell of your body not the joy of having something, but the calm and naturalness of being someone. How would you feel and behave in your daily life if you were already ridiculously wealthy? Probably not with desperate euphoria, but with a calm and serene certainty. That's the frequency you need to access. When you master this shift of focus, from wanting to embodying, from visualizing to being, the quantum field stops treating you like a beggar and starts recognizing you as a command center. you're no longer sending out a signal of lack. You're emitting a signal of identity. I am this. And the universe, like an obedient servant, begins to reorganize the scene of your life, to move the pieces, to orchestrate synchronicities so that the external world matches this new internal identity. Manifestation becomes a consequence, not a goal. However, even this powerful embodiment practice still relies on an image or a mental concept. But there is a language even more fundamental, more direct, and more powerful. A language that needs no images, words, or thoughts. It's the pure language of energy, the way the universe communicates with itself to create worlds. It's the language Thoth used to speak directly to matter, to influence reality at its most basic level. And it's time for you to learn how to speak this lost language. We now arrive at the heart of the mystery, the central point that ties together all the threads we've explored so far. The most powerful book for manipulating energy isn't a physical object, and the language it teaches isn't made of words, symbols, or even the mental images we just discussed. The primordial language, the source code of reality, the one that organizes matter, bends time and space, and to which the universe responds instantly and unquestioningly, is coherent emotion. It is a state of being that transcends thought and becomes a real physical force. Thoth, in his deepest teachings, referred to this as the vibration that unifies heart and mind in a single fire. He knew that when the energy field generated by the heart and the energy field generated by the mind vibrate in harmony, in sync, something extraordinary happens. An immensely powerful and ordered electromagnetic field is created around the body. It's no longer a chaotic and contradictory signal, but a clear, stable, and potent carrier wave. Today, modern science, through institutes like HeartMath, is proving this very thing in laboratories. Emotions like genuine gratitude, compassion, unconditional love, and a deep sense of certainty and appreciation are not just subjective feelings. They produce measurable, coherent, and harmonious wave patterns in the electromagnetic field of the heart, which is thousands of times stronger than the brain's field. This is the language of energy. It's not about thinking grateful thoughts or trying to feel love. It's about embodying those frequencies, becoming the vibration of gratitude itself, allowing it to saturate every cell of your being until there's no more room for doubt or lack. When you sustain this state of coherence, you become a laser beam of intention in the quantum field. While most people emit energy like an incandescent light bulb, spreading weak, scattered light in all directions, conflicting desires, fears, doubts, you emit a focused, organized, and powerful beam of light. Your vibrational signature becomes unmistakable. The universe, which previously received your mixed signals and responded with a confusing reality, now receives a clear command, a single and powerful wave of information, and it has no choice but to mirror that order. This is the point where true magic, true alchemy happens. The struggle ends. The effort to make things happen disappears. You stop chasing butterflies and instead cultivate a garden so they come to you. You no longer need to chase after love, money, or success. You simply become the energetic frequency of love, abundance, and fulfillment. And the quantum field, by law, begins to magnetize to your experience the people, opportunities, and circumstances that resonate with that frequency. You stop being a hunter and become a magnet. That's why people around you will start calling you lucky, or maybe even a wizard. They won't be able to understand how things just work out for you, how doors open without you having to force them. What they don't see is the inner work, the discipline of maintaining your vibrational coherence, the mastery of speaking the only language reality understands. You're no longer playing the game by the rules of matter. You're operating from the level of energy, the level of cause, where all of reality is shaped. However, Reaching that state of coherence is one thing. Sustaining it in the chaos of the modern world is the greatest challenge of all. Because even when you become a master at emitting that powerful frequency, there is a final enemy, a silent saboteur that can sneak into your consciousness and dismantle all your work in an instant. It's subtle, sneaky, and lives closer than you think. It lives inside your own mind. You finally reach that state. Your energy is clean, your heart and mind vibrate in unison, and you can feel the fabric of reality starting to respond to this new coherence. Synchronicities become more frequent. Things seem to flow more easily. But it's exactly in this moment of newly discovered power that the most treacherous enemy emerges from the shadows of your mind. It's not an external force, but an internal whisper, almost inaudible. This is too good to be true. Will it last? That's doubt. It's the silent spell, the antidote to your magic, the frequency that cancels creation the instant it's emitted. Doubt isn't just a harmless thought. It's an act of counter-creation. Imagine that your coherent emotion is a powerful, orderly wave that you send to the quantum field, carrying the information of your new reality. Doubt is an anti-wave, a frequency of equal strength but opposite polarity. When you emit it, those two waves meet and cancel each other out. The result is stagnation. The universe, which was moving in your favor, stops. Not because it punished you, but because it received a cancel command. Doubt is your own creative power being used against yourself to maintain the status quo, the familiar old reality. Thoth, in his texts, warned about the danger of the divided mind because it casts shadows in the field of creation. That's the perfect description of what doubt does. It's like an alchemist trying to transmute lead into gold, but for every minute he heats the cauldron, he spends the next minute pouring cold water on it. The process never completes. Doubt is that cold water. It tells the universe that despite your conscious desire for change, you still identify more with the old pattern of suffering and limitation. You don't fully trust the new reality. And the universe, always mirroring your dominant belief, respects that lack of trust and pauses the manifestation. This final enemy is the most subtle manifestation of your pattern guardian. Its last line of defense to keep you in your comfort zone. It knows it can't stop you anymore with obvious fears, so it uses the most sophisticated weapon: rationality. Doubt disguises itself as logic, as being realistic. Take it slow. It says, don't get too excited, you might be disappointed. It uses your past failures as proof that you're not capable of sustaining success. It's such a well-crafted spell that you believe that cautious voice is your own wisdom, when in fact, it's your jailer disguised as an advisor. The great secret to dealing with doubt is not to fight it. Trying to suppress or deny a thought of doubt is like trying to hold a ball underwater. It always comes back up with more force. Fighting it is giving it energy, validating its existence. True mastery is observing it without identifying with it. Imagine yourself sitting by a river. Doubt is a boat passing by. You see it. Acknowledge its presence. Ah, hello doubt, I see you. But you don't jump in. You let it float on by, while your attention stays rooted on the riverbank, in your state of certainty and coherence. By doing this, you withdraw your vital energy from doubt. You stop feeding it. It may still scream for a while, trying to get your attention, but without your focus, it loses strength and fades. You redirect that energy into the feeling of certainty, into the coherent emotion you've learned to cultivate. But how do you maintain that certainty and detached observation in the middle of daily chaos, when the pressures of the world try to pull you back into the old pattern? There is a physical and energetic practice, an anchor that grounds your consciousness in the only place where doubt cannot survive. Your mind is an unstoppable time traveler. In a blink, it drags you into the ruins of the past, forcing you to relive regrets, hurts, and failures, generating feelings of guilt and sadness. In the next instant, it catapults you into a hypothetical future, painting scenarios of catastrophe, worry, and anxiety. These two movements, backward and forward in time, have a devastating effect. They pull you away from the only point where your creative power actually exists, the eternal present moment. The now is the 0 point, the nexus where energy becomes matter, the only place where your vibrational broadcast is actually happening and shaping your reality. Thoth taught that linear time, as we know it, is an illusion created by the separate mind, by the perception that we are a disconnected ego. He said that at the center of being, at the core of consciousness, everything exists simultaneously in an eternal present. To access your power and stabilize your creative frequency, you must stop traveling with the mind and root yourself in the now. You need an anchor. An anchor that, no matter how strong the storm of thoughts or emotions, keeps you firmly in the center of your power, in the eye of the hurricane, where calm and clarity reign. That infallible anchor is your own breath. It is the most powerful and most overlooked tool you have. Breath is the physical bridge between the visible and the invisible, between your body and your consciousness. Every time you bring your full and deliberate attention to the feeling of air entering and exiting your nostrils, to the expansion and contraction of your belly, you're performing an act of immense power. You force your awareness out of the chaotic labyrinth of the mind and back into your body, the true transmitter of your frequency, anchoring yourself firmly in the present moment. Try it now, wherever you are. Pause for a moment and simply observe one full breath. Feel the cool air entering, filling your lungs, and the warm air leaving. In that simple act, what happened to your anxiety about the future? What happened to your regret about the past? For a brief moment, they disappeared. Because in the now, they cannot exist. Conscious breathing is an instant portal to the present. It's the reset button you can press at any moment to silence the voice of doubt and calm the alarm system of your pattern guardian. By anchoring your attention and your breath repeatedly throughout the day, you train your mind to stay in the now. You develop a new muscle of presence. This doesn't mean the thoughts will stop, but they lose their power to hijack you. They become like clouds passing through the sky of your consciousness, while you remain as the sky, vast, still, and undisturbed. The breath becomes your refuge, your point of stability. From that stability, your state of coherent emission can be maintained for increasingly longer periods, solidifying your new reality. The gratitude you are taught to practice is, most of the time, a purely mental activity. It's an exercise of listing things you're grateful for, a bookkeeping of blessings. I'm grateful for my health, my family, my job. While it has value, that reactive gratitude, which looks at what you already have, is just the tip of the iceberg. The secret code that Thoth and other ancient masters knew was of a completely different nature. It was proactive, creative gratitude, a gratitude that not only acknowledges the present, but commands the future. It's what we can call embodied and anticipatory gratitude. This code isn't about being grateful for what you have, but about being grateful for what you already are in a reality your mind hasn't yet perceived. It's the act of feeling, in every fiber of your being, in every cell of your body, the deep and overwhelming emotion of gratitude for your desired reality as if it were already a done deal. You don't feel gratitude for future abundance. You feel the gratitude of the person who is already abundant. You don't thank the love that will come. You flood yourself with the feeling of gratitude from the person who already lives that love. It's a seismic shift in perspective. By doing this, you're executing one of the most powerful hacks in the universe. You're sending a signal of unmistakable clarity and power to the quantum field. Instead of sending a signal of desire, "I want this," which vibrates at the frequency of lack, you send a signal of confirmation. "Thank you, I've already received it." This frequency of already received creates a paradox in time and space. The universe, which operates under the law of cause and effect, detects an effect, your genuine gratitude, without a corresponding cause in your physical reality. And to resolve that equation, it is compelled to manifest the cause. To practice this, find a moment of stillness. Instead of visualizing what you want, connect directly with the version of you who already has it. How does that person feel? Not the initial excitement, but the steady state of being. Feel the peace, the security, the freedom, the joy. Let that feeling grow inside you until it overflows. And then, from that state, let gratitude arise naturally. A deep gratitude, not for a thing or event, but for the very state of being. Thank you for this peace. Thank you for this freedom. Thank you for this joy. Feel it in your body. That embodied gratitude is a command, not a request. It's the language of absolute certainty. It dissolves doubt at the root, because how can you doubt something you're already genuinely grateful for? It's a state of vibrational faith, the unshakable trust that what's been created in the unseen is already on its way to the seen. You stop checking to see if it's arrived. The same way you don't keep checking if the sun will rise tomorrow. You just know. You rest in that certainty, in that gratitude, and allow the universe to handle the logistics. When you shift your frequency this drastically and consistently, the universe begins a large-scale reorganization to mirror your new vibration. This process isn't always smooth or linear. In fact, it may show up as a period of apparent chaos and instability. Your old reality, built on the foundation of your former frequency, needs to be dismantled to make way for the new structure. It's like remodeling a house. Before the new and beautiful can be built, the old and outdated must be torn down and removed. This transitional period is what Thoth called the bridge of incidents. As you cross this bridge, strange things begin to happen. Relationships that once felt solid may suddenly end because the people in them no longer resonate with your new frequency. Your job, which represented security, may suddenly become unbearable. Or you might even get laid off, forcing you to pursue something more aligned. Issues that had been lingering rise to the surface to finally be resolved. At the same time, new people and unexpected opportunities start to appear. Seemingly unrelated to your past life, it feels like the ground is shifting beneath your feet. It's crucial to understand that this chaos is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's not the universe punishing or testing you. On the contrary, it's the ultimate proof that your vibrational shift has been successful, and the universe is working feverishly to deliver your new reality. Every seemingly negative or destabilizing event is actually a piece of the old scene being removed. Every coincidence or unexpected encounter is a brick of your new reality being placed. You are literally walking between two worlds, with one foot in the dissolving past and the other in the materializing future. The key to crossing this bridge successfully comes down to one word: trust. It's the ability to walk in the dark, trusting that there's a path beneath your feet, even when your logical mind can't see it. It's the unshakable faith that every piece that falls away is making space for something better. Most people panic at this stage. The pattern guardian screams in their ears, "I told you so! Look, everything's going wrong. Go back to what was safe." And many, frightened by the demolition chaos, run back to the safety of the old prison, aborting the rebirth process To avoid that trap, you need to anchor yourself even more firmly in your practice of presence and coherence. When chaos arises, breathe. Return to your center. Remember that you are the eye of the storm. Don't cling to the debris of your old life being carried away by the current. Thank it for its service and let it go. At the same time, don't cling desperately to new opportunities out of fear of losing them. Just observe, trust, and continue holding your frequency. Every moment you refuse to panic and choose trust instead, you accelerate the crossing of the bridge. After crossing the chaos of the bridge of incidents, you emerge into a new landscape, a new reality. But the deepest change isn't in the external world. It's within you. You realize you're no longer practicing being abundant, no longer trying to be loved, no longer striving to be healthy. The practice has dissolved into existence. You simply are. This is the state of being, the final result of inner alchemy. Your identity has been transmuted at the most fundamental level. The frequency of your desired reality is no longer something you chase or try to maintain. It has become your default vibrational signature, your natural state. From this point on, creation stops being a conscious effort and becomes a passive consequence of your presence. Imagine being a powerful center of energetic organization. Your mere presence in a space begins to influence it, to bring it into harmony with your coherent vibration. Conversations become more harmonious around you. People feel calmer and more centered in your presence. You become a tuning fork, and everything around you, by resonance, begins to vibrate at a higher frequency. You don't need to do anything. Your existence is the influence. In this state of being, the law of attraction works in reverse and without effort. You no longer attract what you want. You attract what you are. And because you now are the vibration of wholeness and certainty, corresponding manifestations flow into your life with grace and ease that seems almost unfair. The right people, soulmate partners, and ideal collaborators are magnetically drawn to you without you having to look for them. Financial opportunities and needed resources show up at your door, often from completely unexpected sources. You become a magnet for miracles. Solutions to problems start appearing even before they become a concern. You develop a deep trust that everything is always working out for your highest good. Anxiety about the future disappears, replaced by an excited curiosity about how the universe will surprise you next. This happens because you no longer see yourself as a separate person trying to manipulate an external energy field. You recognize yourself as an individualized expression of the field itself, a center through which the universe experiences and organizes itself. At this point, you finally understand, on a cellular level, that the power was never in a technique, a mantra, or a ritual. The power was always in the identity. The journey was never about getting things. It was about becoming the person who already has them as their natural reality. The identity shift is the only shift that matters, the only one that's permanent. Everything else is just set dressing. You're no longer playing the manifestation game. You've become the game itself. After mastering the art of coherent emotion and grounding yourself in the state of being, you begin to perceive something even deeper. You discover that beyond sound, vibration, and emotion, there is a final language, an even more powerful force: silence. Not silence as the mere absence of noise, but a deep, resonant inner stillness. It's the silence of a center that no longer needs to ask, declare, visualize, or even feel. It's the silence of someone who simply knows, a certainty so absolute that it no longer requires any active emission to be sustained. That inner stillness is the 0 point of the quantum field, the fertile void from which all possibilities emerge. When you learn to dwell in this silence, Your own stillness becomes the most dynamic force in the universe. It's like the eye of a hurricane, a point of absolute calm around which all the storm's power spins. By becoming this still point, you're no longer affected by the chaos of the external world. You watch life's dramas, fluctuations, and storms with detached serenity, like someone watching a movie, knowing you're not the character on the screen. From this state of inner silence, your commands to the universe are issued in an entirely new way. They're no longer charged with emotion or imagery. They're pulses of pure intention, focused and direct, emitted from the vacuum of your consciousness. It's the purest form of creation. Like a master archer who no longer needs to aim with their eyes because they and the target have become one. The intention is released effortlessly, and the arrow inevitably finds its way. You simply decide from that silence, and the universe conspires to manifest that decision. This is the level of the magician, the alchemist who has transcended the need for a laboratory. He no longer needs the external furnace to turn lead into gold, because he has become the fire of transmutation itself. His consciousness is the Athanor, and his silent presence is the catalyst that transforms dense energy into light. This is the true meaning of being the power. It's not a power that imposes on others or reality. It's a power that flows through you, a power that orders the cosmos through harmony and stillness. Operating from this place of silence, you realize the final truth about the manifestation journey. You understand that the goal was never really to get the house, the money, or the relationship. Those were just the catalysts, the bait your soul used to draw you into the path of self-discovery. The real prize was always the journey itself. The goal was to strip away all layers of limitation, all false identities, until nothing remained but your pure essence, your silent center. From that center, the need to have dissolves, because you experience yourself as everything. The separation between you and what you desire vanishes. How can you want something you already are? The search ends, and at the end of the search, you find the peace you've always been looking for, not in an external achievement, but in the rediscovery of your own divine, silent nature. You understand that the greatest wealth is not having everything, but needing nothing. At the beginning of this journey, you were drawn in by the promise of a secret book, an ancient knowledge that would teach you how to manipulate energy and command reality. You embarked on a quest for a power you believed was outside of you, hidden in ancient texts or the teachings of a master. Now, upon reaching this point of inner stillness, the cycle closes with a revelation of overwhelming simplicity. The book was never outside. The whole time, you were the book. You were the knowledge you were looking for. Your physical body is the paper, the blank pages where your story is written. Your emotions, which you've learned to feel and honor, are the ink, the vibrant colors that bring the narrative to life. Your vibrational frequency, which you've learned to tune and refine, is the very language, the code through which your story is communicated to the universe. And your consciousness, the silent observer who has learned to disidentify from the story, is the reader, and at the same time, the author of it all. The journey to decode the language of energy was, in fact, a journey to learn how to read yourself. Thoth and the great masters never left a step-by-step instruction manual. Doing so would have stolen from you your own discovery, your own sovereignty. Instead, they left a vibrational map, a series of clues and symbols coded into the very fabric of existence, designed to guide you on a treasure hunt. And the treasure, like in all the great stories, was never on a distant island. It was always hidden in the most obvious and most overlooked place of all, inside you. You now understand that the true manipulation of energy has nothing to do with controlling the outer world. That's the ego's mindset, which seeks power over others. True mastery is about gaining absolute control over your own inner state. It's the ability to choose your frequency, your emotion, and your state of being, regardless of external circumstances. When you achieve that inner sovereignty, mastery over the external world becomes a natural consequence, a side effect with no effort. The master doesn't control the reflection in the mirror. He controls the face that produces it. From that understanding, you stop trying to change reality. Instead, you use your power of choice to decide, in every moment, which version of reality you want to exist in. You choose with your vibration to tune into the timeline of abundance, of health, of joy, and the universe. Like a perfectly tuned cosmic radio, simply connects you to that frequency, transports you into that experience. You're not changing the world, you're changing worlds, and you do it simply by changing yourself. You are now at the center of your universe, the still point from which all things move. You speak the silent language of energy. You live in the stillness of power. The search is over. The question that arises is, what happens now? The answer is simple and profound. Now, life truly begins. Life stops being a series of automatic reactions to external events and becomes a continuous and glorious act of conscious creation. You're no longer a drifting boat tossed by the waves of fate. You are the captain of your ship, with the map of the cosmos in your heart and your hands steady on the wheel of your intention. You no longer wake up in the morning with a feeling of apprehension, waiting to see what the day will bring you. Instead, you wake up and decide. You sit in silence for a few moments and deliberately choose which energy, which state of being, you will embody and emit that day. Today, I am the frequency of creative joy. Today, I am the vibration of deep peace. Today, I am the embodiment of limitless abundance. You set the tone. You become the cause, and the world around you, with all its people and events, becomes the effect. If you made it this far, write in the comments, "My reality changes now," to seal this message. If you'd like to help the channel more directly, there's a link in the first pinned comment where you can contribute and support the spread of more content like this. Any help is greatly appreciated by me and for the growth of the channel. But just by watching this video until the end, that already helps a lot. You can also share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. And don't leave yet. I've picked a special video for you to click on right now. I'll see you there.